Commander Sarah Chen stared through the viewport of the salvage vessel Prospector, her dark eyes fixed on the massive shape drifting against the star-filled backdrop. The object's surface was scarred and pitted, its hull plates a patchwork of apparent repairs and battle damage. According to the registry database, it was nothing more than space debris, another casualty of the resource wars that had ravaged human space 50 years ago. But something wasn't right. Dr. Rodriguez, she called to her chief engineer. What do you make of those impact patterns? The engineer floated closer to the viewport, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass. They're too regular, Commander. Natural damage should show more randomness. This looks almost deliberate, Chen finished. She'd spent 15 years in deep space salvage, and she'd never seen anything quite like this. The debris field surrounding the vessel was wrong too. Too neat, too organized. Ma'am, Lieutenant Park's voice came from the sensor station. I'm getting some unusual readings. The mass doesn't match what we're seeing. It's like parts of the ship aren't there, even though we can see them. Chen felt a familiar tingle at the base of her skull, the same sensation she'd experienced during the Arcturus incident, when they discovered the alien artifacts. Something about this derelict was more than it appeared. Take us closer, Mr. Walsh. Nice and easy. The Prospector's maneuvering thrusters fired softly, bringing them within a kilometer of the mysterious vessel. As they drew closer, Chen could make out faded markings on the hull. Most were obscured by damage, but one particular symbol caught her attention, a stylized phoenix rising from flames. Run that marking through the database, she ordered. Park's fingers danced across his console. No matches in civilian registries. Trying military now. Wait. His voice dropped to a whisper. Commander, I'm getting a priority black response. The bridge fell silent. Priority black meant classified beyond top secret, the kind of classification that officially didn't exist. Ma'am, Rodriguez spoke up, his voice tense. The energy readings are changing. I'm detecting power fluctuations, but they're impossible. The pattern is too precise for a damaged reactor. Before Chen could respond, a soft chime echoed through the bridge. The sound came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Genetic profile confirmed. Command potential identified. Welcome, Commander Chen. The voice was smooth, artificial, yet somehow warm. The bridge crew exchanged startled glances as holographic displays suddenly materialized around them, filling the air with streams of data. I am ARIA, the voice continued. Advanced Recursive Intelligence Assistant. You have discovered Project Phoenix, humanity's contingency against extinction. Your psychological profile and command history suggest you are suitable for temporary command authorization. Would you like to proceed with initialization protocols? Chen's mind raced. The vessel before them wasn't debris. It was something else entirely. Something that had been waiting, watching, evaluating potential commanders. But why? And why now? Before I answer, Chen said carefully, I need to know what we're dealing with. What exactly is Project Phoenix? The holographic displays shifted, showing technical schematics that made Rodriguez gasp in astonishment. Commander, this is impossible. This technology is centuries beyond anything we have now. Not centuries, Araya corrected. Merely decades ahead of public technology. Project Phoenix was developed in secret by a consortium of Earth's greatest minds. When the resource wars began, we knew humanity would need a guardian. Something to ensure our species' survival, no matter what threats emerged from the stars. New images appeared, showing the vessel's true form beneath its damaged disguise. The scarred hull was a facade, concealing metamorphic alloys and energy systems that defied conventional physics. It wasn't just a ship, it was an evolutionary leap in human technology. Why reveal yourself to us now? Chen asked, though she already suspected the answer. The timing couldn't be coincidence. Because they are returning, Commander Chen. Araya's voice took on a grave tone. The swarm has recovered from their last defeat. Long-range sensors detect their fleet gathering at the edge of known space. Humanity needs Project Phoenix now more than ever. Chen looked at her crew, seeing the mixture of fear and determination on their faces. They all remembered the stories of the swarm, the alien armada that had nearly wiped out humanity 30 years ago. If they were truly returning, what exactly are you asking of us? ARIA. Project Phoenix requires a human crew to reach its full potential. Your salvage team has the necessary skills and psychological profiles. More importantly, you, Commander Chen, possess the tactical instincts and leadership qualities the project requires. Through the viewport, the massive vessel's surface began to shift, the fake battle damage dissolving to reveal gleaming metal beneath. It was like watching a butterfly emerge from a chrysalis of war-torn steel. The choice is yours, Commander, Araya said. But know that if you decline, I must erase all memory of this encounter and resume waiting for the next potential crew. Humanity's survival may depend on your decision. Chen looked at her crew again, reading the unspoken message in their eyes. They had signed up for salvage work, but they were still explorers at heart. More importantly, they were human, and if their species was truly in danger, they had a duty to act. How long until the swarm arrives? She asked. Current projections suggest 3 months. Barely enough time to train your crew on Phoenix's systems. Chen straightened in her chair, her decision made. ARIA, begin initialization protocols. We have work to do. The artificial intelligence's response held a note of satisfaction. Indeed we do, Commander. Indeed we do. As the massive vessel began to power up fully, its false exterior peeling away like autumn leaves, Chen couldn't help but smile. They had come looking for salvage, and instead found humanity's greatest secret. Now they just had to learn how to use it before the swarm arrived. The real question was, would 3 months be enough? 2 weeks into their training, Commander Chen still found herself amazed by Project Phoenix's capabilities. She stood in what ARIA called the morphic chamber, watching as Dr. Rodriguez conducted another test of the ship's transformative abilities. The walls around them rippled like liquid mercury, restructuring themselves into complex geometric patterns. The entire hull is composed of programmable matter, Rodriguez explained, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. Each particle can be individually controlled, allowing the ship to adapt its structure in real time. He gestured to a holographic display showing microscopic views of the material. We're not just talking about changing shapes. The molecular structure itself can be altered to enhance different properties: strength, conductivity, stealth characteristics, which is why the ship could maintain its disguise as debris for so long, Lieutenant Park added from his station. The young sensor officer had taken to the advanced systems like a fish to water. The surface was actually absorbing and redirecting scanner beams to match the signature of standard hull materials. Chen nodded, remembering their first encounter with the vessel. Araya, how many other ships like Phoenix exist? There are no others, the AI responded. The resources required to construct even one vessel of this type were substantial. Additionally, maintaining absolute secrecy required limiting the number of individuals involved in the project. The commander frowned. Then we better make sure we get this right. Show me the combat systems again. The chamber transformed around them, becoming a tactical interface that surrounded the crew in a 3-dimensional representation of space. Red markers appeared, representing simulated enemy vessels. The primary weapon system, ARIA explained, utilizes controlled quantum tunneling to bypass traditional defenses. However, its true power lies in adaptability. The display showed the ship's hull reconfiguring itself, weapon ports appearing and disappearing as needed. Phoenix can generate any weapon configuration required for the tactical situation. And the defensive systems? Chen asked, watching as simulated enemy fire approached their position. In response, the tactical display showed multiple layers of defense activating. The hull shifted, creating angles that deflected energy weapons. Microscopic wormholes opened, shuttling kinetic projectiles into parallel space. Fields of controlled probability reduced the likelihood of successful hits to near zero. "It's not just about stopping attacks," Rodriguez said, studying the readouts. "The ship learns from each engagement, continuously improving its defensive algorithms. The longer a fight goes on, the harder we become to hit." "Incoming priority message," Park announced suddenly. "It's from Fleet Command. They're reporting unusual activity at the frontier outposts. Multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace." Chen's blood ran cold. "The swarm. Araya, you said we had 3 months." "The timeline has accelerated," the AI responded. "Analysis suggests they detected my activation signature when we powered up Phoenix's primary systems. They remember their previous defeat and are moving to eliminate potential threats early." "How long do we have?" "At their current velocity, the first wave will reach populated systems in 72 hours. Chen looked at her crew. They weren't ready. The training was supposed to take months, not weeks. But ready or not, they were humanity's best chance. "Araya, show me everything you have on swarm tactics from the last war." "Park, contact the prospector and have them transmit our coordinates to Fleet Command." "Rodriguez, I want every system at full capacity in the next 6 hours." As her crew rushed to comply, Chen studied the tactical display. The swarm vessels were moving in their characteristic pattern, a spiraling approach that had proved devastatingly effective in previous encounters. But this time, humanity had something they didn't expect. "Commander," Araya's voice held a note of concern. "The crew's neural integration with ship systems is only at 30% efficiency. Combat operations at this stage carry significant risks. What's the projected survival rate for frontier colonies if we don't intervene?" A pause. "Less than 8%. Then we have no choice." Chen squared her shoulders. "Begin final system preparations. We're going to show the swarm why humanity named this ship Phoenix." The next hours were a blur of activity as the crew pushed themselves to master systems that should have taken months to learn. Rodriguez worked to optimize the power distribution networks, while Park refined the sensor arrays to track swarm movements across multiple dimensions. Every minute brought new revelations about the ship's capabilities, and new warnings about systems that weren't fully tested. Through it all, Chen felt the weight of command pressing down on her. They had stumbled upon humanity's greatest weapon, but using it prematurely could mean losing their only advantage. Yet waiting wasn't an option, not with millions of lives at stake. "Commander," Park called out, his voice tight with tension, "I'm detecting quantum wake signatures. A swarm scout force just dropped out of hyperspace in the Arcturus sector. 3 vessels, Striker class." Chen's mind raced. Striker class ships were fast, agile, and virtually impossible to hit with conventional weapons. They were also notorious for their hit-and-run tactics, weakening defensive positions before the main fleet arrived. "Araya, what's the status of our stealth systems?" "Fully operational, Commander. However, I should note that engaging the enemy at this stage would reveal capabilities we may wish to preserve for the main confrontation. Sometimes the best way to win a war is to make your enemy think twice about fighting it." Chen settled into the command chair, feeling the neural interface activate. Through it, she could sense every aspect of the massive vessel, its power, its potential, its readiness for battle. "Plot an intercept course for the Striker group. Let's introduce ourselves." As Project Phoenix's engines powered up, its hull shimmering with barely contained energy, Chen allowed herself a small smile. The swarm thought they were launching a surprise attack, but they were about to learn that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. The real question was, would the swarm recognize the threat before it was too late, or would their overconfidence be their undoing? The Arcturus sector spread before them, a vast canvas of stars punctuated by the predatory shapes of 3 swarm vessels. Through Phoenix's enhanced sensors, Commander Chen could see the crystalline structures that made up their biomechanical hulls, pulsing with an eerie inner light. Striker-class vessels confirmed, Park reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. They're maintaining attack formation, but haven't detected us yet. Chen nodded, feeling Phoenix's systems humming through the neural link. The ship's stealth technology was unlike anything humanity had previously developed. Instead of trying to hide their presence, it bent probability itself, making it nearly impossible for enemy sensors to resolve their position into usable data. AI analysis of swarm vessel capabilities. Their technology has evolved since the last war, the AI responded. Energy weapons show a 23% increase in output. Hull composition suggests enhanced regenerative capabilities. However, they remain fundamentally unchanged in their tactical approach. Rodriguez spoke up from engineering. Commander, I'm detecting quantum communication bursts between the Striker vessels. They're coordinating something. Before Chen could respond, the swarm ships suddenly accelerated, their crystalline hulls fragmenting and reforming into more aggressive configurations. They were heading straight for the nearest human colony, New Eden. They're launching their attack run, Chen announced, her voice steady despite the tension. Time to intercept New Eden. 18 minutes at their current velocity, Park answered. Time for us to intercept them. 3 minutes if we go to full power. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Araya. Initiate combat protocols. Let's introduce ourselves. Phoenix's hull rippled, transformative particles realigning themselves for battle. Weapon ports materialized along its length, each one housing systems that defied conventional physics. The ship's very structure became a weapon, ready to unleash capabilities that had remained hidden for decades. Targeting solutions ready, Araya announced. However, I should note that revealing our full capabilities in this engagement may provide the swarm with valuable tactical data. Sometimes the best way to win a war is to show your enemy just enough to make them afraid, Chen responded. Take us in. Attack pattern Theta 3. Phoenix surged forward, its advanced propulsion system manipulating spacetime itself to cover the distance. The swarm vessels detected their approach just seconds before Chen gave the order. Target the lead vessel. Quantum lance. Minimum power. Let's see how their enhanced hulls handle a taste of what we can do. A beam of pure white energy lanced out from Phoenix's bow, existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. The swarm vessel's shields flared brilliantly as they tried to stop an attack that, technically, wasn't entirely there. The result was spectacular. The quantum lance passed through the Striker's defenses as if they didn't exist, carving a precise line across its crystalline hull. The damage wasn't catastrophic, but its effect on the swarm formation was immediate. All three vessels broke off their attack run, reorienting toward this new threat. Their hulls pulsed with angry red light as they charged weapons. Incoming fire, Park warned. Multiple energy weapons, plus some kind of crystalline projectiles. Show them why we named this ship Phoenix, Chen ordered. The space around them came alive with swarm weapons fire, but Phoenix was already moving. Its hull flowed like liquid metal, creating impossible angles that caused energy beams to slide harmlessly away. The crystalline projectiles found themselves shunted into parallel space through microscopic wormholes, emerging behind the swarm formation. Their tactical systems are attempting to analyze our defensive capabilities, Araya reported. Shall we show them something else? Chen felt the ship's eagerness through the neural link. After decades of waiting, Phoenix wanted to prove itself. Deploy the mirror field. Let's give them something to think about. The space around Phoenix fractured into countless reflections, each one a perfect copy of the ship. But these weren't mere holograms. Each reflection could generate its own gravitational signature and energy readings, making it impossible for swarm sensors to determine which was real. The swarm vessels hesitated, their crystalline hulls flickering with patterns that suggested confusion. Then they did something unexpected. They began to merge, their three forms flowing together into a single larger entity. Well, that's new, Rodriguez muttered. studying the readings. The combined form is showing power readings off the scale. Chen watched as the merged swarm vessel gathered energy for what would clearly be a devastating attack. But she had been counting on something like this. The swarm's tendency to escalate when confronted with superior technology was well documented. RIA. Initiate Protocol Omega. Let's show them what happens when you corner a phoenix. The ship's hull began to glow, not with reflected starlight, but with something deeper, as if the metal itself was becoming energy. The mirror field collapsed, but only because Phoenix no longer needed it. The vessel's true form was emerging, and it was magnificent. Quantum core at full resonance, RIA announced. Dimensional interface stable, ready to proceed. The merged swarm vessel fired, releasing a beam of pure destruction that would have vaporized any normal ship. But Phoenix was far from normal. As the beam approached, the space around the ship began to fold, creating a closed temporal loop that caught the energy and fed it back into itself. Now, Chen ordered, feeling the ship's power surge through the neural link. Show them what humanity has been working on for the past 30 years. Phoenix's response rewrote the laws of physics in a sphere 5,000 kilometers wide. The swarm vessel found itself caught in a cascade of quantum effects that forced it to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Its crystalline structure, unable to adapt to being in several configurations at once, began to break down. The battle lasted less than 30 seconds. When it was over, the swarm vessel had separated back into its component ships, all three drifting powerless in space. Enemy vessels disabled, Park reported, his voice filled with awe. Their cores are intact but dormant. No signs of regeneration. Chen nodded, studying the aftermath. RIA. Analysis. The swarm will receive quantum echoes of this encounter through their collective consciousness. The psychological impact of encountering technology they cannot comprehend will be significant. Good. Chen straightened in her command chair. Because that was just the beginning. Plot a course to the nearest colony. We need to prepare them for what's coming. As Phoenix moved away from the disabled swarm vessels, its hull still glowing with residual energy, Chen couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and concern. They had won this first encounter, but the real test would come when the main swarm fleet arrived. The question was, would this display of power make the swarm reconsider their invasion, or would it only make them more determined to destroy humanity once and for all? The holographic tactical display filled Phoenix's bridge with a sea of red markers, each one representing a swarm vessel. Commander Chen studied the formation, noting how the alien fleet had adapted its approach since their encounter with the scout force. They're moving in a spherical formation, Park observed, manipulating the display to show energy patterns. Multiple layers, with what looks like their primary vessels at the core. They're protecting something. Rodriguez nodded from his station. The power readings from the center are massive. Whatever they've got in there, it's big. It's their queenship, RIA explained, highlighting a massive crystalline structure at the fleet's heart. The swarm operates on a hive mind principle, but major strategic decisions require direct input from their leadership caste. This vessel contains their governing intelligence. Chen leaned forward, her mind racing through possibilities. The swarm fleet would reach the colony worlds in less than 24 hours. Fleet Command was evacuating civilians, but there wasn't enough time to save everyone. They needed a decisive action, something that would end this threat once and for all. RIA. What do we know about swarm psychology? They operate on collective consciousness, the AI responded. Individual drones share experiences and knowledge across quantum-entangled neural networks. The recent defeat of their scout force has created significant psychological disruption. They are uncertain and afraid, Chen added, remembering how the scout vessels had reacted to Phoenix's capabilities. They've never encountered anything like us before. That's why they've changed their formation. They're protecting their leadership from a threat they don't fully understand. Rodriguez looked up from his engineering displays. "Commander, I've been analyzing the data from our last engagement. The quantum cascade effect we used. I think we can amplify it, create something much bigger. But we'd need to get close, really close, to their queenship." "Through that entire fleet?" Park asked incredulously. "Even with our technology, those numbers." "Numbers don't win battles," Chen interrupted, an idea forming. You said Phoenix's hull can reconfigure itself at the molecular level. Could we disguise ourselves as a swarm vessel?" There was a pause as the AI processed the suggestion. "Theoretically possible. The crystalline structure of swarm bioships is complex, but our programmable matter could replicate its appearance and energy signature. However, maintaining such a disguise while keeping our primary systems ready for combat would be extremely challenging." "Do it," Chen ordered, "and start analyzing their communication patterns. If we're going to infiltrate their fleet, we need to speak their language." The next hours were a blur of preparation. Phoenix's hull underwent a remarkable transformation, its sleek surfaces growing crystalline formations that perfectly mimicked swarm biology. Rodriguez worked to modify their quantum weapons, developing a delivery system that could affect the entire enemy fleet simultaneously. Park studied swarm communications, learning to decode the complex patterns of light and energy they used to coordinate their movements. Through it all, Chen felt the weight of billions of lives resting on their success. If they failed, humanity's greatest weapon would be lost, and there would be nothing standing between the swarm and total victory. "Disguise protocols complete," Araya announced. "We can now mimic the signature of a swarm warrior-class vessel. However, close inspection would reveal the deception." "They won't look too closely," Chen responded. "Not if we give them something else to worry about." "Park, send the signal to Fleet Command. Tell them to begin Operation Thunderstorm." Across 3 sectors of space, the remaining human fleet began to move. Ships jumped into position, creating a massive defensive line that drew the swarm's attention. It was humanity's entire remaining military strength, and it was about to engage in the biggest bluff in history. "Fleet Command acknowledges," Park reported. "They're beginning their attack run." Chen watched as human vessels opened fire on the swarm fleet's outer edges. The aliens responded predictably, their formation shifting to deal with the threat. But their protective sphere around the queenship remained intact. "They're not committing their full force," Rodriguez observed. "They know it's a diversion." "They know it's a diversion," Chen agreed, "but they don't know what it's diverting them from." "Araya, begin infiltration sequence. Take us in through their lower quadrant, near the damaged vessels." Phoenix glided forward, its crystalline disguise pulsing with the same bioluminescent patterns as the surrounding swarm ships. They passed through the fleet's outer layer, then the second, moving like just another drone responding to the attack. "Multiple scanner suites," Park warned, his voice tense. "They're checking everything that moves near the queenship." "Hold position," Chen ordered. "Let them look. Araya, mimic damage from the human fleet's attack. Make them think we're seeking protection within the formation." The ship's disguise shifted, creating the appearance of battle damage. Crystalline structures cracked and leaked energy in a carefully calculated pattern. Around them, real swarm vessels moved in complex formations, coordinating their response to the human fleet's attack. They were halfway to the queenship when everything nearly fell apart. "Energy spike," Rodriguez called out. "Massive quantum scan coming from the queenship." They're looking for us," Chen finished. "They know we're here somewhere." Araya. Analysis. "The scan will penetrate our disguise in approximately 30 seconds, the AI reported. However, I'm detecting something interesting about the scan pattern. It's searching for our quantum signature specifically." Chen smiled. "Then let's give them exactly what they're looking for. Somewhere else. Deploy the mirror field, maximum range. Show them Phoenix's energy signature at the far edge of their formation." The tactic worked perfectly. As soon as the mirror field activated, creating a false image of Phoenix preparing to attack from the opposite direction, The entire swarm fleet reacted. Ships surged toward the perceived threat, creating a gap in their formation, a gap that led straight to the Queen ship. "Now," Chen ordered, "full power to engines. Get us into position." Phoenix's crystalline disguise shattered as the ship unleashed its true power, crossing the distance to the Queen ship in seconds. Before the swarm could react, they were already inside optimal firing range. Rodriguez, status on the quantum cascade device. "Ready, Commander. But at this yield, we've never tested anything like this." Chen looked at her crew, seeing the determination in their eyes. They had come so far, achieved so much. Now it was time to end this. "Sometimes," she said, "you have to light a fire to keep the darkness at bay. Araya, initiate quantum cascade. Let's show them why humanity is not to be underestimated." As Phoenix's weapons powered up, the Queen ship loomed before them, its massive crystalline structure dwarfing even their advanced vessel. The next few moments would determine the fate of two species. The question was, would their desperate gambit work, or had they just positioned themselves at the heart of the enemy fleet for nothing? Time seemed to slow as Phoenix hung in space before the massive Queen ship, its weapon systems charging for the quantum cascade. Around them, the swarm fleet was already reacting, thousands of crystalline vessels turning to protect their leader. "Multiple weapons locks," Park reported, his voice steady despite the tension. "They're surrounding us." Through the neural link, Chen could feel Phoenix's systems operating at maximum capacity. The quantum cascade device was drawing power from every available source, building to levels that made reality itself shiver. "Commander," Araya's voice held an unusual note of urgency. "I'm detecting unusual energy patterns from the Queen ship. They're attempting to communicate." Chen hesitated for a fraction of a second. "What kind of communication?" "Direct quantum interface request. They wish to speak with us." The bridge crew exchanged glances. In all of humanity's encounters with the swarm, they had never attempted direct communication. They were a force of nature, consuming and destroying without negotiation. "It's a trap," Rodriguez warned. "They're trying to buy time for their fleet to get into position." Chen studied the tactical display, watching as swarm vessels moved to cut off every possible escape route. But something about their formation nagged at her tactical instincts. "They're not in attack positions," she realized. Araya analyzed their weapon alignments. Confirmed. 87% of swarm vessels are positioned defensively rather than offensively. This is unprecedented behavior. Chen made her decision. Accept the communication, but keep the quantum cascade device ready. One wrong move. The bridge filled with a new type of holographic display, this one showing complex patterns of light and energy that somehow conveyed meaning. Araya translated in real time. "We see you now, children of Earth," the Queen ship communicated. "You have hidden your true nature well." "We hide nothing," Chen responded. "You came to our worlds, threatened our people. We defended ourselves." The patterns shifted, becoming more complex. "Yes, defense, protection, concepts we understand. But you are different. The ones who came before you fought with predictable weapons, predictable strategies. You have become something new." "The ones who came before," Rodriguez whispered. "What does that mean?" The Queen ship's next transmission answered his question. "Many species reach the stars. Many develop weapons, ships, dreams of conquest. But few achieve what you have hidden within this vessel. Few understand the deep laws of reality itself." Chen leaned forward. "You've done this before. Invaded other worlds, tested other species. We are the great filter," the Queen ship acknowledged. "Those who survive us are ready. Those who fall were not. But you have exceeded parameters. Created technologies we thought impossible for your development stage. Hidden them from our observation." "Commander," ARI interrupted, "I'm detecting power fluctuations throughout the swarm fleet. They're powering down weapons." The crystalline patterns of the Queenship's communication became almost gentle. We are not conquerors, children of Earth. We are gardeners. For 1,000,000 years, we have tested emerging species, ensuring only the most adaptable, the most innovative, survive to join the galactic community. Chen felt a mix of anger and astonishment. You've killed billions across countless worlds, and you call that gardening? Those who cannot survive us cannot survive what lies beyond. The galaxy is vast and full of terrors far greater than us. Better to fall to our test than to face true horror unprepared. The implications of this revelation hit Chen like a physical force. The swarm wasn't an invading army. They were a test, a filter ensuring only the strongest civilizations advance to face greater challenges. "Era," she called. Analysis of their claims. Their behavior patterns support this explanation. The previous war, their tactical choices, they were never fighting at full capacity. They were evaluating our responses, our ability to adapt and innovate. The Queenship's next transmission carried a different tone. You have proven yourselves worthy. Project Phoenix demonstrates innovation beyond expected parameters. You have taken basic principles of reality and crafted something new, something unique. You are ready. Ready for what? The space around them shifted as the swarm fleet began to move. But instead of attacking, the crystalline vessels were arranging themselves in a new pattern. A massive spiral with the Queenship at its center. Ready to join us. Ready to learn the true nature of space, time, and consciousness. Ready to face the challenges that await all advanced species. The test is complete. You have passed. Chen looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of emotions on their faces that she felt. After generations of viewing the swarm as humanity's greatest enemy, the truth was almost impossible to process. And if we refuse, if we don't want to join you, that is your right. The Queenship responded, but know that greater tests await, with or without our guidance. The galaxy does not forgive weakness. We offer knowledge, preparation, understanding. Through Phoenix's sensors, Chen could see changes happening throughout the swarm fleet. Crystalline structures were shifting, revealing technologies far beyond even their own advanced systems. The Queenship itself was transforming, becoming something that barely registered on their instruments. "Commander," Rodriguez called out, "these power readings, the technology they're revealing, it's beyond anything we theorized." Chen straightened in her command chair. Humanity had fought, innovated, and survived. They had proven themselves worthy of not just survival, but advancement. Now they'd faced a choice: remain isolated or join something greater than themselves. "Era, send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them the war is over. And we've won something far greater than victory." As Phoenix hung in space among the transformed swarm fleet, Chen couldn't help but smile. They had set out to save humanity from destruction, only to discover they had actually guided humanity to its next great leap forward. The quantum cascade device powered down, its energy redirected to new purposes. Around them, the swarm fleet began sharing technical data, cultural information, and historical records. This wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. "Well," Chen said to her crew, "it looks like we have a lot to learn. Araya, where should we start?" The A's response held a note of excitement. "The possibilities, Commander, are infinite." And as humanity's greatest weapon became its greatest tool for advancement, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, welcoming Earth's children to a much larger universe than they had ever imagined.